Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in the Clearview Palm Strip Mall is where we're at for Sports NOLA TV. Once again this evening, what a kitchen, what a gourmet's delight of food. Check it out. Making me extremely hungry. We're having all kinds of fun, eating, stalking, and having tremendous fellowship here at Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie. And thanks to Piccadilly for hosting Sports NOLA TV once again. And a pleasant good evening. Ken Trahan with you for this special edition of Sports NOLA TV. Special because we're with you on a Tuesday night, because the Saints played on a Monday night. Quite a stat, the champions of prime time, the New Orleans Saints under Sean Payton. They absolutely thrive under the hot lights of a national spotlight, and they did so again in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome against the New York Giants. Ken Trahan, Sports NOLA TV, Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie. So glad that we're here and enjoying the great food as always. We'll tell you about some of those delicacies coming up, but right now I got some delicacies for you, including our regular panelists. Torrance Small, Saints wide receiver supreme.
Glad to be back so soon, but on a good note.
Well, we couldn't get rid of you. I mean, things were so good. We brought you back the day after. What can I tell you?
Got rid of the Giants.
It's very popular, on demand, right? So with that, we bring you to the other guy. No, just kidding. He's a good person too. And of course, you can read his material, including his review of the Saints game at sportsNOLA.com. The one and only Brian Alley Walsh, the man with three names. Brian.
Great to be back. Great to be back.
Nice to have you with us. So you've got three names and you outflank the others who both have two names. Our guest panelist here this evening is a gentleman I've had the pleasure of knowing for the better part of 3.5 decades. He's coached at Chalmette, at Archbishop Rummel, at Bonneville, and was the head coach at St. James for the better part of 2 decades. And now he serves as the chief analyst for Ken Trahan's Original Prep Football Report on WGSO 990 AM and the Original Network, and does a few games with us as well. And he is Rick Gailey. Rick, it's good to have you with us.
It's a pleasure to be here, surrounded by such dignitaries in such a great place. This is really enjoyable. I'm having a great time doing this, and especially working with you.
Well, we really do have some dignified people off camera. Unfortunately, you can't see them, but no, we got some good folks here as well. And the Saints had a lot of good folks last night, Brian, as you look at this performance. Again, they just seem to thrive in prime time. Every time they come off of a bye, they play great. Every time they play in prime time, they play great. Last night was no exception.
I agree with you. I think as a panel, we kind of thought that going in last night to the game that they seemed real ripe for this kind of performance. And the Giants just weren't up to the task, Kenny. I don't know what else to say. They just weren't ready to play last night, and the Saints took full advantage of them.
Well, it's hard to really monetize, rationalize, or give full credit to what Drew Brees does, Rick, as you look at the way he performs on a week-to-week basis. The guy is in the midst of setting all kinds of records now, 350 yards, 27 times in his career. He's now second all-time in consecutive games with a touchdown pass. He's on a record pace with yardage in terms of where he's at. He's thrown for the most yards over an 11-game season in the NFL to this point in time ever. It really is hard to quantify what he's doing with the New Orleans Saints right now.
That's correct. And we got to see some illustrations last night of his athletic ability, which out of all the accolades that he's got, he often doesn't get enough credit for what a great athlete he was. But if you look at his biography, you realize he was a multiple sport player in high school. Once again, last night, great preparation. You notice there was no hesitation. One of the first things I look when I'm looking at a Saints game, is there hesitation? Are his feet moving around because there's some indecision on his part? But he was throwing right on time. His first decision was almost always the correct one. Had an outstanding game.
Torrance, when you look at the Saints' offensive performance, you marvel at the running game, 205 yards. You marvel at Brees in the passing game and his receivers. But you have to give the offensive line an enormous amount of credit. They blocked the run extremely well, and they did not allow a sack of Brees against a team that had 31 sacks coming in.
Yeah, I was very, very disappointed in the Giants, but extremely happy with what the Saints did. Saints came out, we on all some run passing game, everybody chipped in, everybody did their job. The one thing I was very disappointed with the Giants, I didn't see any adjustments. I don't think Breeze got dirty any time during that game, and wasn't great for them, but great for our offensive line. I think it's a great step to these last 6 games. We call them the playoff road, and I look forward to us playing well the rest of the season.
Rick, the Saints have outscored their opponents this year 208-93 in the friendly confines. In years past, they've been really good on the road and maybe not quite as good as you would think at home. This year, it's the other way around. They've been okay on the road. They've been absolutely lethal at home.
Yeah, and saying that they've been okay on the road is a bit of an understatement. They've had a couple of stinkers there, but they're really into a routine at home. Once again, being able to do things on time, making the correct decisions is so much a part of what they do, and they really seem to have the home routine down. Their communication at home is much better, and the opponent's communication often gets disrupted, especially in today's football where the communication between the quarterback and the offensive line, not just his receivers, has got to be there. The other team gets unsettled early, and the Saints gain a lot of confidence at home.
Brian, as in the sport of boxing, sometimes matchups make the fight, and this is an unfair fight. If you look at the way Drew Brees has performed against the Giants, 65% completions, 4-0 overall, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions in those 4 games. I mean, this thing would have been called after one round, basically, with the way he plays against this team.
Tom Coughlin should have thrown the white flag at probably in the 3rd or 4th quarter, but no, you're right. It was very reminiscent, guys, of the 09 game. They win by 3 touchdowns. Very reminiscent coming off the bye. And to follow up with what Rick was saying, you know, the Saints, this is their second 5-0 start at home now, and the other one was in 09, the Super Bowl season. So I'm not saying, but, you know, it's kind of reminiscent, makes you think.
And Brian, as far as turnovers are concerned, the Saints don't turn it over. They're going to win. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
18-0 under Sean Payton when they do not turn the ball over.
Wow, that's incredible. And again, one of the keys yesterday, guys, was keep Breeze clean, and they did. And when you, like Rick said, when you can keep him upright and allow him to make good decisions, he's going to make good decisions 99% of the time.
Exactly. We talked about the turnover margin, which they got, meaning we're not turning over as much as our opponent is, and that's something that they did. And we capitalize on those things. When our offense is running like this and we're getting the turnovers, believe me, defense, if you get those turnovers, we will get points off.
Well, this is an offense that leads the NFL in yardage, about 450 yards a game, and the Saints, and of course Breeze, setting all kinds of records with what he's doing. And the fact of the matter is, Rick, the Saints can run the ball. They've been middle of the pack in the league, but they showed again last night that they can run it, whereas the Giants really cannot run the ball. Second to last in the league. And when you get Jacobs turning his shoulder pads to the side, he's got no chance, and they really miss Bradshaw.
Yes, very much. The running game is important because that's what helps keep Drew Brees clean. If the Saints can't run the ball at all, then the pass rushers don't have to regard the run at all because it takes different techniques for defensive linemen to rush the passer or to stop the running game. So that even if they're not successful in yardage, Drew Brees feels that he doesn't have to win every single play because the games that he makes the errors in, that he has turnover problems, is when he feels he's got to win every play. If they're able to run the ball at all, just go ahead and make the effort at the defense has got to defend it. It changes their pass rush technique. Drew Brees stays clean. If he stays clean, Saints win.
No, this is a team that's developed depth when you look at what they've accomplished this year, and obviously that depth was on full display. Jonathan Vilma's been down for a while now. The Saints have won every game without him. I think Jolon Dunbar's done a nice job. You see a guy in Herring contributing last night. You see a guy in Casillas that's athletic and is making some plays. And you see other guys stepping up as well. Offensive line, they've had to make changes this year due to injuries. They have guys ready to play. Running back, they've got 4 that can play. They had to sit Chris Ivory to facilitate the other 3. Right decision, by the way, based upon the way those 3 performed. Wide receiver, it's good to see Devery Henderson getting back into the fold. Robert Meacham not there last night, but you can't please everybody all the time. You got a lot of toys to play with. Play with as many as you can. We'll take a time out here when we return in just a moment. We'll take a trip around the NFL as sportsNOLAtv continues from Piccadilly Cafeteria in Metairie. Our sportsNOLAtv trivia question for the evening. Jimmy Graham caught a couple of touchdown passes Monday night, which gives him 8 on the season. I think he's been the best in the league. Who holds the Saints' single-season record for touchdown receptions by a tight end? Intriguing question. We've had some good ones over the years, including a couple of Saints Hall of Famers and Henry Childs and Hobie Brunner. Give it some thought, and we'll see what you come up with a little bit later. We are live at Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie, where you can get all kinds of great deals. I had the Monterey chicken a little while ago. Terrific cheese, grilled, bacon. Oh my. Put some sauce on it. Chicken and dumplings, I love it. Get it here all the time. Turkey and dressing, you can't go wrong there. All kinds of vegetables, salad bar, you name it, they've got it at Piccadilly each and every day and night that you come here. And now that I've got you all lathered up and hungry, let's take a look at the standings in the NFC South after last night's victory by the Saints, who are now back up by a full game over the Atlanta Falcons in the two-team race. Tampa Bay is out of it pretty much, in Carolina, they're a spoiler, and they will beat some teams as time goes on. So the Saints back up a game, which of course means that that game in Week 16 between the Saints and Falcons is going to be a titanic clash. It's really setting up that way because the Falcons have a schedule which they can navigate very well, and I believe the Saints can do the same as you look at what's going to happen down the road. Now, with the Saints' victory, you saw the standings. Let's take a look at the playoff picture and give you an idea of where teams stand. First of all, let's take a look at the NFC. The Packers in the number 1 slot, the 49ers, then the Saints at 3, Dallas at 4. Right now, your wild card teams would be the Bears and the Falcons, and of course the Lions and the Giants still in the hunt. Lions coming to town this weekend. And flipping it to the AFC playoff picture as you take a look at the other conference before we have the discussion about what to expect. The Houston Texans tie with the New England Patriots and the Baltimore Ravens at 8-3, and the Oakland Raiders at 7-4. Right now, the wild cards would be teams from the same division, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, and in the hunt, Denver. So you look at that one division with Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, very impressive. The Jets are there as well. So that's the playoff picture. Okay, Torrance, as you look at the playoff picture, first and foremost, in the NFC, who's in and who's out? You saw the 6 that are in right now. Who do you think will make the playoffs in the NFC? Maybe 1 or 2 teams that are not going to make it, in your opinion.
I like to say the Bears.
In or out?
In.
In. Okay. Even without a quarterback.
Even without a quarterback,
Okay.
I think they have a defense, and I think if you have a defense, you give yourself an opportunity, you give yourself a chance. If you can run the ball, which they can run the ball very well, and they have a defense that get themselves an opportunity, and they have a defense that get turnovers. So I give them the edge more so than Detroit, and I see Atlanta probably getting it.
Rick, NFC?
Atlanta.
In.
We'll come in second. We'll come in second to the Saints.
And they'll get in.
As a wild card. Chicago's probably going to be left over because Detroit has a tough road, especially coming up this week, and Ndamukong Suh being out certainly helps Breeze to have the opportunity to step up in the pocket. Even though the Giants are in it and will be in it even if they lose to the Packers this week, playing the Cowboys two times before the end of the year, I can't see that team I saw last night recovering, and with Giants' second half swoons becoming something of a regularity, I think they're in deep trouble.
Brian?
Yeah, I kind of agree with both Rick and T. I think the one team that's probably going to get in is Atlanta for sure. I think they've righted the ship. I don't know about Caleb Haney. I think if Chicago gets Jay Cutler back in time, I think you could put them in, and I think they were a definite in with Cutler behind center. I'm not so sure about New York as well, although, Rick, they do play the Cowboys twice coming down the stretch, so they can have, they can make an impact there, okay?
And I like Dallas. All right, we got about a minute on the AFC. Maybe one team in, one team out in the AFC.
AFC, who?
Thank you, Rick.
Do not be surprised. I'm writing I'm writing an article on it now about Tim Tebow. Do not be surprised to see the Denver Broncos because the Broncos proven. Chicago Bears learn this now. Quit throwing the darn ball around if you're incapable. If you don't fumble the ball and you don't turn it over in the NFL, you win.
All right, Torrance.
I like to see Cincinnati get in there. I like to see them in. and I like to see the Broncos sneak in. I think looking at their schedule coming up, I think Tebow and that defense that they have over there, I think they can do it with a great running game.
Brian?
Yeah, I agree, but I think there's only going to be one team out of the AFC West. I think it'll either be Oakland or Denver. And you know what? The one team that I wouldn't want to play, there's two teams I wouldn't want to play. Either Oakland or Denver. I wouldn't want to play them in the playoffs.
Yeah, personality certainly has something to do with it, and Carson Palmer has really given the Raiders a lift. It's time now for our fan segment where our fans have an opportunity to ask our guest panelists a question. This is brought to you by State Farm Insurance and Susan Gohagan and Reggie Glass. We thank them for their continuing support. State Farm Insurance, proud sponsor of SportsNOLA TV. Our first question is for Torrance Small. State your name and give us your question, sir.
I'm Wade from Kenner, and my question is, with the game last night, the Saints seemed to get a whole bunch of penalties, especially unnecessary roughness and the taunting penalty too. Why would you think? I mean, it almost seems like they were singled out for that.
Okay,
so,
Torrance?
Well, the one thing the referees, what we have going on right here in these days is a lot of flags with unnecessary things. They're trying to get sportsmanlike conduct under control in the NFL. So they're throwing a lot of flags. Unnecessary dancing, unnecessary celebrations, unnecessary hits, which are some questionable. But you're starting to see a lot of flags in the NFL, and you're going to see a lot more of that.
Next question, state your name for Coach Rick Gailey.
My name is Callis. I'm from New Orleans. I want to know if this year team is better than the Super Bowl team in 2009.
Okay, Rick.
Yeah.
Saints team, are they
Saints
better?
team, are they better this year or 2 years ago? And not yet. Offensively, every bit as good and probably going to be better, especially as Mark Ingram gets more and more into the offense. Defensively, they've still never recovered from the loss of Darren Sharp and Scott Fujita, and they're a step behind defensively.
All right, final question for Brian Alley Walsh. State your name, fire away.
Sherman Paul. I wonder, do you think that was a personal foul on Tracy Porter?
Sherman, what do I think of Tracy? You know, Tracy has been slow to get back in the form that he was used to.
He wants to know if
before.
it was a personal foul on Tracy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Yeah, I think it was. I do. I think that if it's a play that I remember, I think it was on him. But you know what? In today's world with the referees and how they call things, there really is no define. There's a gray area there. So I think, but I think in Tracy's case it was.
Well, the league has a lot of clips to look at. I'm sure the Saints made some cut-ups and sent them in because there were awful calls, and every one of those calls was a bad call against the New Orleans Saints in that game by definition. And there's no way that that was roughing the passer on Will Smith. No way that that was unnecessary roughness on the receiver. It's a shoulder-to-shoulder hit. It's ridiculous. And even by definition, in today's namby-pansy world of the NFL, those are not penalties. Why are you throwing these flags in those situations? You see somebody go flying, you automatically assume it's a penalty. Ridiculous. When we return in just a moment, we'll put Brian Alley Walsh on the hot seat as we discuss who the best quarterback is in the NFL as sportsNOLA TV continues from Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie. Our trivia question from sportsNOLA TV this evening. Jimmy Graham caught 2 touchdown passes Monday night, giving him 8 on the season. And the question is, who holds the Saints' single-season record for touchdown receptions by a tight end? Answer is, I mentioned him earlier, Saints Hall of Famer Henry Childs, who had 9 in the 1977 season, a forgettable season, but a memorable one for Henry Childs, who was a really good receiving tight end. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLA TV from Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie, where the food's always great. Talked to you about some of the great deals you can get all the time a little bit earlier. The stuffed fish, the southern fried fish, the fried shrimp, the roast beef, you name it, they've got it. Take your pick. Man, you just load up that tray with like 20 things, and you're still going to pay about $15 if you do that. And you can pay under $10 if you're prudent and smart about what you select. But you can get it all here at Piccadilly, and we hope you will. It's time now for us to go the distance and get it all because we put Brian Alley Walsh on the hot seat. as today's topic surrounds quarterbacks in the NFL. And a very hot topic of debate these days, who is, in fact, the best quarterback in the National Football League? Brian, it's all yours.
Well, Kenny, I like the grilled fish with Amity.
Not the carrots and flight?
The Ricky Jackson sausage on the top.
Not bad. Not bad. I like that.
Yeah, man, it's good.
You ought to check his out his cookbook. That's all.
should.
I'll tell you what. Maybe it's the benefit of having watched Drew Brees ever since he arrived from San Diego in 2006. But for my dollar, I'd like to spend it on Drew Brees, and I'll tell you why. As good as Tom Brady is, and with his Super Bowl MVPs and his 2 Super Bowl trophies to show for it, or is it 3? Is it 3? Give me Drew Brees over even Peyton Manning, and I'll tell you why it's this. Is when he could make everybody good around him better. He can make smart, wise, decisive decisions, and he can make everybody better around him in the sense of an offensive lineman. They don't have to hold their blocks as long. He can get. He's got a plethora of receivers to throw to, and he's led a bunch of comebacks. I like Drew Brees over the rest of them. Well, he is an elite quarterback in this league.
And we're here.
Yeah,
you know,
I know. It's difficult.
We're here because I'm a big Drew Brees fan. I want you guys to know I love Drew Brees. But right now, I would go with Aaron Rodgers. Right now, Aaron Rodgers is on point. If you look at him, hey, they're about wet and wet. But I do think Aaron Rodgers is a little bit more mobile than Drew Brees. So I'm gonna give him that edge. But force these guys putting the ball precise with their throws, giving their receivers opportunity to run it with, after the catch. If you look at his quarterback rating and his percentages for his throwing, he is having a hell of a year right now. I think the yards, Drew Brees has him by yards right now because he throws more balls. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He throws the ball a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I'll go with Aaron Rodgers right now.
Okay.
Rick?
Yeah. I just want to let everybody know how much I'm learning about television from these guys.
Not much, huh?
What an experience. Well, since they've taken those 2 already, and there's no wrong answer in this, Tom Brady.
There you go.
Why not? Since we're talking about the accolades of all of them, and there is no wrong answer. What they all 3 have in common is this: their preparation for every game is exquisite. And if you had a chance to see the feature last night, that on every play in practice, Drew Brees and the other quarterbacks as well go through every progression on every play, regardless of what receiver they're throwing to. 3 of them, all 3 of them, and Brady, since I'm picking Brady, exquisite championship preparation, and that's where championships are made.
You know, Rick and T, what I find interesting is that nobody in the panel has picked Peyton Manning. Now,
I haven't spoken yet.
No, out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. But I mean, now Peyton is certainly right there with every one of the 4. Okay, and as Rick so eloquently said it, you can make a case for any of the 4 that we're about to, including Peyton Manning. But what I like about Drew is there is just something about him, that it factor. I think he has it, and he's shown it, and he makes everybody else around him. Pay the man his money. That's my word to the Saints. Pay the man his money.
Oh, I think he'll get paid. I definitely.
Oh, I'm not worried about it.
I think he'll get paid. And back to Aaron Rodgers. Here's a guy. Now you're talking about a guy that can make every throw. This guy can make every throw.
Yes, he
can.
can.
Very strong. Very strong arm. And he used everybody on the team. He throws the ball. Notice one thing I know about all these guys: if you're playing with them, be ready. You're going to catch some passes.
But
they don't show favoritism. They're going to throw the ball to everyone.
But Drew can make up for that maybe lack of arm strength that Rodgers has or Tom Brady has by making good, smart, quick decisions, putting the ball on the money. So he can make up for that.
Not only that, but both of these guys, they throw guys open.
Final point before the judge speaks.
I think they all throw people open. If a guy's covered, they can throw him over.
Would you let the man speak?
Final point.
Yeah, that's why they're at the top of their profession, because they can make quick decisions. They see things before it happens. They have great visualization. They have a great command, and just like all of us have said at one time or another, they make their teammates better.
If I was still in school, this would be the multiple choice question, and the answer would be A, B, C, D, or E, all of the above. I'd pick E. You can't lose with any of these guys. And Peyton Manning very clearly raises the level of people beyond what you can believe. Who knows who these guys are? Who knew who Collie was or Garcon? Was Harrison really that good? I think he was good, not great. Manning made him look great. Reggie Wayne, good player, not a great player. Manning made him look great. Tight end, Dallas Clark and beyond, same story. Drew Brees does the same thing. Tom Brady has an absolute positive record that is unspeakable. 3 Super Bowl championships, 1 other appearance, and his numbers are fantastic. But for right now, Aaron Rodgers is the best. His team won the Super Bowl last year. He's the MVP. His team's 11-0 this year. He's got by far the biggest quarterback rating in the league right now, and I'd go with him at least at this point in time. It's time now for our Marvelous Minute. As we have today's leadership moment, with us is Marvin LeBlanc, the Cajun Rambo, to share more thoughts from his brand new book, Come Hell or High Water, Life's Lessons from Hurricane Katrina. And with that, here's Marvin LeBlanc. Marvin?
Thank you so much, Kenny. Boy, we have learned a lot from this gifted panel today. A lot of good information that they've given you. What they haven't given you is an opportunity to have 2 free tickets to the LSU-Georgia SEC Championship game and 2 free tickets to the SEC Fanfare Extravaganza. All you have to do is be the first person to go to marvinleblanc.com and order 10 books. That's it. It's well worth it, I promise. Now, our real subject today is called the Possibility Party. The Possibility Party. We're always talking about Christmas parties, Mardi Gras parties, birthday parties, party. That's what we are in South Louisiana. Well, you business owners out there, do you have a possibility party lined up for the next 2 or 3 weeks? Why do we want to have a possibility party? Because there's 4 questions that your organization right now needs to ask for 2012. Number 1, what has worked in 2011? What can work in 2012? Are we maximizing the strengths of our current team members? And number 4, what opportunities are available that we've not yet taken an opportunity to capitalize on? And remember what we learned, a life lesson that you'll find on page 191 in Come Hell or High Water is this. Yes, we live in tough times and in great uncertainty. But what we remembered the most about Katrina is this. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. I'm Marvin LeBlanc. Go to marvinleblanc.com and get your books today. Back to you, Kenny.
Marvin, as always, thank you. A pleasure. When we return in just a moment, we'll preview the state playoffs, the semifinal matchups. We'll break them down and have some fun in the process as sportsNOLAtv continues from Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie. What you'll find at sportsNOLA.com, including the road to the Dome. And the state playoffs have reached the semifinals in Louisiana high school football. Doesn't get any better than that. I'm scratching my head trying to figure that thing out and who's going to win and who's not. It's going to be fun. Ken Trahan with you, sportsNOLAtv, as we take a look at prep football and the prep playoffs entering the semifinals. This is the weekend that decides who's going to the Superdome to play in the State Farm Superdome Classic. In 1A, you've got 3 undefeated football teams. Ouachita Christian, the 1 seed, playing the 4 seed Mangum. And, of course, our hometown West St. John Rams out of Edgard against undefeated Vermilion Catholic. Rick, how do you see the 1A bracket?
Well, Ouachita Christian is the overwhelming favorite in the top half of the bracket, but Mangum is waiting in the weeds. They're only 33 miles apart. Mangum is also undefeated, and I like Dragons. So I think Mangum has a great chance at upsetting Ouachita, but Ouachita's a huge favorite there. West St. John, even though they have 2 losses, playing undefeated Vermilion Catholic, kind of a dream scenario for Vermilion Catholic, and Trev Falk, the head coach there, but West St. John, I believe, has the experience.
I like West St. John's chances too. I know Vermilion Catholic's very talented, and Henry Randall will be mad when we look at West St. John and say they can win the game, but that's simply the way we feel. With regard to the other matchup, I like Ouachita Christian as well. Brian, Torrance, any opinion?
I think whatever Rick says is good as I defer to the
West
expert.
St. John.
Hey, there you go. There's a
West
man.
St. John.
There's a man making a statement. Robert Valdez and the Rams of West St. John. All right, let's go to 2A, where the John Curtis Patriots are unbeaten and the #1 seed, and they play their arch rivals, the Evangel Eagles, in the semifinals. That's right, a semifinal matchup this year because of the Evangel record, which is totally misleading. Calvary Baptist high-scoring team, but a quarterback hurt against second-seeded and unbeaten Winfield. What do you say, Rick?
Evangel's record somewhat misleading because they lost several games early in the year, but they're back on a roll. This is the 5th time they played. They've split the 4 previous meetings, even though Evangel's won the last 2. Curtis has better linemen. Curtis is the favorite there. Winfield with too much speed for Calvary.
Well, it's actually 3-2 Evangel. They beat Curtis in the Hapklawny Classic back in the day, and they have split the last 4 meetings. And I do like Curtis at home in this game, even with the freshman quarterback. And as for the other matchup, if Calvary's quarterback was healthy, I would like them to win the game. He's not, so that might give a slight edge to Winfield in that matchup. Brian, I know you know all about Curtis and Evangel, and the fact that they're playing short of the dome is a little bit of a surprise.
Absolutely, and I like JT's, even though they do have the freshman quarterback. I'll take JT there.
Torrance?
Depth. I think John Curtis has a lot of depth. I'm looking for John Curtis to pull this one out.
They're real big, and that usually helps in these types of games and going down the road. Let's take a look now at the 3A brackets, where Marksville at 10-3 is taking on the Amite Warriors at 11-1, and the defending state champion Parkview Baptist Eagles taking on the undefeated St. Charles Catholic Comets. Rick?
Some excellent battles here. At the top of the bracket, Amite is a clear favorite over Marksville, but Marksville has been on a roll lately, and they run the old single wing. I mean, right out. I've updated some of the things, but that's going to give Amite some problems. Amite is on the road as well, but Amite's too good for Marksville. St. Charles at Parkview Baptist, as we say, at the end of that game, there's going to be some bent face masks. St. Charles is on a mission this year, even though Parkview has really recovered from their slow start. I like St. Charles.
Parkview's huge. They're the defending champions. If St. Charles can stand up to their size, they'll win the game, and I believe they will. And then in the other matchup, I like Amite. I've picked them from the get-go in the top half of the bracket, and I'm going in that direction. A lot of people think the 2 best teams are playing in the semifinals in St. Charles Catholic and Parkview Baptist. That may be correct. Brian?
I like St. Charles in the points.
Well, I'm
Wow.
Ooh.
High school points.
You still know some people in St. Bernard, don't you?
Absolutely. I tell you what, I'm going to
Tell
go
me
with
what.
Parkview. I'm
Okay.
going to go with Parkview for the simple fact that I coached against those kids before, and they beat us in an overtime game. I remember that. Youth ball.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a good reason. That's as good a reason as any, I guess.
Yes.
It's almost as good as Brian liking the Dragons.
I like the points.
You like the Dragons.
I like the
They
Dragons.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He likes the Dragons. You can like Parkview.
They took me down. So
I
have to
understand.
go for 'em.
Well, I really do think that St. Charles Catholic, it's their year. Regardless of the injuries they've had to 2 outstanding players in Lizedrick Thompson and Marcus Hall, they are still a terrific football team. Donnie Savoy is an outstanding quarterback, and they are just getting it done defensively like nobody else has in the class, even though they gave up 24, although some after the fact, at Rain a week ago, a game in which they felt like they did not play well at all, and oh, by the way, they scored 52. So just to give you some perspective on what the Comets are all about, that's where they're at. Let's take a look at the 4A brackets as we move up in class, and these are 2 terrific matchups. The Neville Tigers, one of the great traditions in Louisiana, undefeated and lethal against maybe the fastest team in the state in Breaux Bridge, 12-1 on the year. And then here locally, a couple of teams from our area. Lutcher comes to the West Bank. Tim Detilier's Bulldogs at 12-1 to take on Jabbar Jalukes and the Carr Cougars at Berman Stadium. Rick, what do you think?
The easy pick would be Neville, so I'm picking Breaux Bridge because they're at home and immensely talented, only lost 1 game this year. Neville taking the long trip down to Breaux Bridge. Lutcher's defense has woken up. Excellent in the playoffs so far, especially defensively. You know it's going to be a challenge against Carr's defense, but I like the Bulldogs.
These are 2 terrific matchups. I like Neville, regardless of whether they travel or not. They're the best team in the class, bar none. And when I talk to people that have played them, including Wayne Reese, all I get is, wow. Breaux Bridge has great speed, but Neville's too good for them. Their quarterback makes plays beyond belief, and their size is terrific. And Mickey does a great job there. And as far as the other matchup is concerned, man, that is a really intriguing game. Carr's going to be the bigger, more physical football team, and they're at home. And Lutcher is the experienced team that's been there, done that, and they have speed. This is a tough game I'm going to give a very slight edge to Edna Carr at home in that football game.
Good pick, Kenny. I like the public school.
Okay.
Yes, great. My good friend Jalou. Hey, wait for you to be in the dome, baby. Bring it home.
All right, which will bring us to the highest classification
pressure.
in the state of Louisiana, which is 5A. And as we look at the 5A brackets, look, the great story here, Guy LeCompte's Mandeville Skippers to the state semifinals for the first time ever and having to make that trek up to Rebel Land to take on West Monroe, 7-time state champions, and the Bird Yellow Jackets, a proud tradition with 7 state championships at 12-0, taking on the Crow Bears, who are back. Rick, these are 2 intriguing matchups as well.
Very much so. Once again, the Cinderella story in Mandeville, having to go up to West Monroe, tough place to play. A lot is going to depend on practice this week and whether Mandeville gets intimidated or not. Are they practicing this week to win or just that they're happy to be there? If Guy LeCompte will have them ready, even though West Monroe is a heavy favorite. We had a chance to personally see Bird last week, you and I together, against Rummel. Very impressive. Moved the ball with a game-winning drive at the end when they had to do it. Good friends of mine, Mike Suggs and Brett Indest over at Karen Crow. Right now I'm looking at Bird as a favorite there.
All right, I think the Bird-Karen Crow matchup is delicious. You're talking about the classic size versus speed matchup in this game. Karen Crow is very physical, very big, just overpowered Jesuit when they had to with size, and Bird is all about speed all around. Speed versus size, speed versus size. Karen Crow's at home. I'm going to give Bird a very slight edge. Brian?
Well, naturally, I would have liked to have seen a Rummel Jesuit matchup there in that bottom semifinal. And I'm always for the underdog, so I want the Skippers to pull off the upset again.
Hope you're right. Torrance?
Well, they say there's no replacement for speed, so I'm going to go with Bird. You talk about their speed and how fast they are, always go with the speed.
And West Monroe, I don't think you can go wrong there. It could end up being a rematch of Bird-West Monroe, which started the year way back when Bird edged West Monroe. Who wants to see a rematch? Hey, it doesn't just happen in college football, perhaps. It happens in high school football, too. When we return in just a moment, we'll preview the Saints and the Lions as sportsNOLAtv continues from Piccadilly Cafeteria, 2222 South Clearview Parkway in Metairie. You want a good meal? You want a good time? You want good service? Smiling faces? Piccadilly Cafeteria is the place for you. Right here at 2222 Clearview Parkway in Metairie, right off of Interstate, Clearview Palm Strip Mall, 504-454-6271. Call anytime. It's a great choice every single day of everything you can possibly imagine, from vegetables to meats to poultry, to desserts, to salads, you name it, they've got it right here at Piccadilly. I know that firsthand because I'm here all the time eating on Wednesdays with our ministry luncheons on a weekly basis. The Saints, of course, will try to have some Lions for dinner coming up on Sunday night. It's another prime-time affair for the Saints, and this is a big game in the NFC standings. 8-3 Saints, 7-4 Lions. Lions lead the all-time series. A lot of memorable games, maybe the Tom Dempsey game, the most memorable, 1917, November 8, 1970, 63-yard field goal. Tom signing autographs at the Saints Hall of Fame at the game between the Saints and their New York Giant foes. Tom had a great day that day. And Brian, I think the Saints will have a great day against the Lions, or a great night, as it were, this coming Sunday night.
Kenny, I agree. I liked this matchup better about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I just think the Saints are so dominant at home. I think they're going to continue it through Sunday night. Another primetime game, like you said. Sean Payton always has his team up and ready to play. And I think they're going to be ready and poised again to stage another great game.
Rick, one of the interesting notes about the Lions, Matthew Stafford, he's that 4th quarterback. He's the guy ranked 4th overall in terms of quarterback ratings, behind the big 3 that we spoke of earlier.
That's right. But and they got off to a great start this year, winning their first 5, but they're only 2-4 in their last 6 games. Don't run the ball very well at all, and that is going to be a huge difference. Can the Saints keep the momentum that they've built up over the last 3 weeks? Can they follow an excellent performance Monday night with another excellent performance Sunday night?
Take away Megatron, dare them to run the football, and challenge them vertically, especially without Sue there to create a disruptive force up front, right, Torrance?
Yeah, I think we make them one-dimensional. Take away the run, make them pass, and that's something the Saints have been doing very well over the last few weeks is we've been taking away the run away pretty well. And I think we put somebody over the top on Megatron. He's a great receiver. For us, their defense, I don't think their defense can match up with our offense. I think we're too high power. I just think defensively we just need to make them one-dimensional.
Yeah, I think that certainly will fit the bill. Brian, big advantage for the Lions. They played on Thanksgiving. They've had a long time to get ready for this one.
Yeah, I've thought about that too, Kenny, and you're right. I mean, 10-day break, you would think that they'd be in a position to come in here a little refreshed and everything. Be interesting to see how this team reacts to Sue's suspension. That is, if he doesn't win an appeal. I would assume he's going to appeal.
But they still have some other guys.
Well, they do.
Harley,
Yeah,
they have some guys.
That's what I'm saying. They have a really good team. I just liked them 2-3 weeks ago.
All right, let's take a look at the Saints' upcoming schedule. We talked about the Lions. Then it's at Tennessee and Nashville to take on the Titans. Then at Minnesota to take on the Vikings, who have had a rough year. And then, of course, the big game with the Falcons. Another primetime game on the evening after Christmas. That's the Saints' upcoming schedule. 3 out of 4 essential, 4 out of 4 necessary if you want to have a chance at catching the 49ers for the second spot and getting that bye. Rick Gilly, a pleasure. Great having you with us, my friend.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I appreciate it.
I'm just having so much fun. It is unbelievable.
He doesn't want it to end. Brian,
I'm
Troy,
hungry.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Kenny, thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, for all three of these guys, I'm Ken Trahan saying thanks for joining us. Be a good sport, and God bless you one and all. Rounding third and heading home. So long.